Oh no, yeah, I just had dinner. My grandmother had spent the day with me, and so I told her I would take my meeting outside in the car.
Hello, we are joined in the Wildcat Well this week by Charles Jackson Jr. of Poetic Thespian Productions. He participated in our 2020 virtual festival with a show called Love at Foresight. Since then, he's been very productive, so be sure to check the description for details on all of his upcoming projects. Also, as a fair warning, we did have some connection issues during this recording, so things get a little choppy at times. So bear with that. Also, as always, remember to visit theatercrude.org to learn how to apply for our 2021 festival or just to donate and check out what we're all about. With that, enjoy the interview. Well, welcome to the Wildcat Well, the Theater Crude YouTube series.
Yes.
It's lovely to have you, Charles. What have you been up to since you participated in our festival last year?
Yes. Well, first, thank you for having me. I'm grateful to be here. So the festival was last October. Since then, I did one show called Good Night, Never Goodbye, and that show was done at the Rogue Fringe Festival in Fresno, California. So that was what I did. That premiered back in March, and so that was the big project I had going on at the moment. It had really good reviews, pretty good reception. The what made the project so interesting was that it was improv. So we had a storyline, and we knew, point A was different every time. So that was a fun experience.
It's great. Was that also a virtual thing then? Was that live streamed or
Yes.
did you actually have audiences?
Yeah, we had it where it was live streamed. So we pre-recorded it and then submitted it, and it was live streamed. Yeah. But
So,
in our pre-recordings, we did it as if there was an audience there, so it was one takes. So if we didn't like the take, we just did another take. It wasn't like a movie where you sat and said cut, and we did one take, and whatever happened happened. So
nice. Yeah, that's a lot like when you were down in Oklahoma City. You did all of Love at Foresight in one take, which was great to
yeah,
see.
yeah, we're one take people over here. Get it done the first time. Yeah,
Yeah, it's that theater training coming out. You don't want to mess around with multiple takes and editing. Just
yeah.
plow
Oh
through.
no. Yep.
So, what was that like doing improv, doing a live stream?
It was cool. We so the story was about a man and a woman, and uh they're complete strangers, but the woman finds out that her husband is cheating with the man's wife. So she confronts the man and informs him. And then the play is basically, it chronicles their friendship that they end up having. So they meet at the hotel room that their spouses are having an affair at, and they kind of bond, trauma bond. And it's basically just shows two people who are going through the exact same situation and just relying on each other in a non-romantic way, because so many times it has to be romantic all the time. uh but yeah, it was really cool, having to come up with stuff at the top of our heads. And we really didn't rehearse much because we didn't want to get to the point to where we just did whatever we rehearsed. So we really were very vague on any direction. It was very much so a collaborative effort of whatever comes naturally. And if you say 1,000 curse words this run, then they're gonna have to deal with it like that. That's the run that we're getting. So yeah, it was fun. It was really cool.
Yeah, I know when you applied to Theater Crude with Love at Foresight, you said that had been accepted into another festival. Did that festival happen?
No, so Love at Foresight was accepted at the Fort Worth Fringe Festival, and it was supposed to. So that was in 2020. Wait, was it 2020? Yeah, yeah, 2020. So uh, it was supposed to go so they canceled it due to COVID, like most of the people. You know, not many people went virtually. That was a little ahead of its time. So y'all really were very innovative because most people weren't doing it. Um, but yeah, Fort Worth Fringe had canceled, and they basically said, you know, everybody who's accepted this year will be able to perform next year. Um, I haven't heard anything from them, so I don't know if they're going to go forward with it this year again, or if they're going to postpone it again until next year. So I have no idea. I don't know, but yeah, we'll see.
All right. Well, hopefully they do. Um, I haven't been down to that Fort Worth festival. What time of year does that normally happen?
Uh, if I'm correct, late August, early September.
Okay.
Early September. Yeah, I've only been in. I think which one is this? Is it sixth? There hasn't been too many of them. Um, no more than seven, if that. I don't even know if it was that, but I have been in two of them. So in 20, what year was it? 2017 or 2018? I met my wife in 2016. I did Panama in 2018. Yes. So in 2018, I went to the Fort Worth Fringe Festival for my one man show in due time pantomime. That was a big deal. That's pretty much everyone's fan favorite of mine. um, and then in 2019, I went again. I was accepted, thankfully, and I did a show called "How I Became the Love of Your Life," which is also a one-person show, and that was really cool. Forward Fringe, I highly recommend. They have a really good audience turnout every time. Um, really good audience turnout, and good. The critics show up and they give their critiques, and it's really good. It's never any hateful critiques. You know, if it's a critique, it's a real critique. You know, not just a blanket opinion, but yes.
Yeah. No,
But yeah,
that's great.
oh yeah, they're good.
Have you made it around the rest of the Fringe circuit yet? Are you visiting any other festivals?
Yeah, I'm wanting to do as many as I can. You know, I'm a fan of virtual. I know a lot of people aren't. I'm a fan in the sense to where I don't want it to replace in person, but I think COVID has shown that it is something in itself that should be present, not a replacement, but an addition. At least that's how I feel. Um, yeah, I did the Rogue Festival in March. I was accepted to the Kansas City Fringe Festival. I'm writing a new show for that one. I need to start writing soon. um,
Yeah.
and I was accepted to the Minnesota Fringe Festival, which with a new show that I need to start writing soon. So yeah, I'm at least at the Kansas City and the Minnesota, and I'm gonna apply for Theater Crude. I saw those applications go up not too long ago.
Excellent.
So yeah, I'm gonna try to go as much as I can. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's great. I love that you're hitting the circuit and seeing all of these different festivals. And do you want to talk any about the projects you're working on for Kansas City or Minnesota?
Yes. So Minnesota is still in question. I don't know what I'm going to submit to that. I'll know at some point within the next couple of days. Uh, but I decided that I was going to actually. So Kansas City Fringe has a film section. Um, so I'm going to make a film for them. I actually just came up with the details about a week or so ago. Um, but the film is called Crumble. And it's basically about it basically chronicles a man's life as he okay, I'm trying to see how to say it without messing it up. So long story short, a man and his wife have been separated for about a year. um, and so uh, they have a conversation, and she's going to come back for them to meet up for the first time since their separation. You know, they were determining if they were going to get divorced or not, so they decided to separate. It's just been a year-long separation anyway. So the film is basically him chronicling his preparation for her return, and you know, like getting things ready, and you know, what am I going to wear when she comes back? This is going to be the first time my wife's seen me in a long time. You know, I need to make sure, you know, that I look a certain way. What am I going to cook? You know, what's all going to be here? Because again, they haven't really been in contact since the beginning of their separation. And so that's the gist of it, without spoiling anything. But yes, it's a really cool thing. One person film. It's going to be fun. I'm excited to start working on it. And yeah, so Minnesota. I try to write my shows for Fringes. I just think it's a little bit more exciting and it gets a little bit more exposure just to original work. Um, that's how I see Fringe. I know some people, and I'm not against taking popular shows to Fringes, but it's a little um, it's like a what's the word? It's not an obstacle. That's not the word I'm trying to say. It's basically like I can't think of the word for the life of me. Like a challenge. That's the word. Yeah. It's kind of like a challenge for me to go to a festival and then determine like what show I want to do. I try to do a new show every time. Um, I'm not against touring shows. I should do it more. But it's always fun to me just to have new ideas and just see what comes from it. So yeah, like even Love at Foresight, I wrote that solely for Fort Worth Fringe and Theater Crude. I knew I was applying to both of you, and so when I saw those applications, I typically write after I see the application of a festival. I never write a show and then say, "Ooh, let me submit to all these places." It's typically backwards. So, "Ooh, there's a festival. I probably should write a show for that," and then that's how it typically goes. But yeah,
That's nice. That's a really great process. That is very cool. Is this the thing that gets you excited about theater?
I think so. Yeah, I used to do speech and debate, and I don't know how familiar people are with it, but there's an interp section where basically it's basically acting, but you're interpreting literature. So you perform poetry or prose or a play. Is they have different categories, but in college, I wrote most of my stuff. So it was always interesting to me when I would perform it and I would get all these critiques and all these things, and I was the author of the work. um, but I realized when I was doing speech and debate that I didn't necessarily love speech and debate. I loved the challenge of writing a 10-minute work and performing it and competing with it, and knowing that if I won, you literally wrote this and you performed it and you figured it out. So I'm a big fan of do it yourself things. I'm it's just fun to me, and I think above all it allows me to be able to play whoever I want to play. So if I decide right now I want to play a cowboy in space, then I could. I can make it up and figure it out. So yeah, it's fun. I like the thrill of it, especially when it's in front of a live audience and they don't know, and then you're the writer and you did it all and you're seeing people react to it. It's a different feeling than auditioning for something and just performing. It's just a different feel.
Yeah, that's great. So you mostly do your own work. Have you done any work for anyone else recently?
Yeah, I haven't auditioned. I don't audition often. I not that I'm against auditioning. I'm all for it, but I made a promise to myself when I was a junior, senior. I think it was senior in high school. I was really sad. It was senior. Yeah, I was a senior in high school. I was really sad that I didn't get into the play. It was like in Texas, they do a one act play and they have competitions and all these high schools compete with their shows. And I was so heartbroken because, best actor at that place is like the pinnacle. It's like the Oscar for high school. And I was so heartbroken that I wasn't cast in the show because I was like, I lost my chance to be the best actor. And I was so sad. And I made a promise to myself right then that I would never wait for other people to give me um, performing opportunities, to where I would always audition, but I would always be doing the show regardless. So it's come to the point now to where I write shows so quickly that I haven't had to audition because I'm always in a show. Uh, but I have done amphibian stage productions. They're a theater down in Fort Worth, phenomenal theater. Highly recommend them. People should check them out. They're awesome. Love them. Amphibian stage productions in Fort Worth. I've recently collaborated with them on two projects. They recently released a project called This Is My Story, and it basically highlighted Black men and provided as it was basically a video production that was an outlet for Black men to be able to speak and, you know, tell the stories of what we go through and what we experience, good, bad, ugly, all that jazz. Um, and I was blessed to be able to be a part of that project. There's a segment in the project called Hashtag Trending. It was a poem written by Calvin J. Walker. He's an amazing poet in the DFW area. And I was requested to come and perform it in the production. So I technically didn't audition for that, but that was something that wasn't mine that I was involved in. And then I recently was selected as one of the artists in a grant. So Amphibian teamed up with La Mama up in New York. I don't know if you know that theater in New York. La Mama. Uh, they're pretty big up in New York, but they teamed up with Amphibian and they created this grant for creatives, where basically I can't think of the poet's name. Shame on me, but there's a famous Spanish poet. Can't think. Oh, I gotta look it up now because I'm gonna feel so bad. Um, it's Pablo, but I don't want to butcher it. I'm looking it up now. Odes by Pablo. I don't want to butcher his last name, but Neruda. I might say it wrong. I don't know, but he wrote odes to basically common things, and this was poetry that he wrote. And he basically made ordinary things seem majestic. So Amphibian and La Mama collaborated, and they basically created a grant called Odes. Um, to I'm about to look it all up now. I'm butchering all of this. They're gonna be like, Charles, how are you the spokesperson of this? So basically, the project is called where is it? Here it is. Odes for a World in Search of Joy. So Culture Hub with La Mama and Amphibian, you know, collaborated, and it's for this festival. I think Culture Hub calls Refest. Anyway, long story short, the point of the grant was to make a video project or some project of some sort that highlighted ordinary things that brings joy to your life. And all anybody who was interested in the grant obviously had to submit a proposal and express what they were going to do. So my proposal was called Captain Iron. So basically, it's a stop motion short film that highlights the joy that having an iron brings. So growing up, even now, I hate being wrinkly. But I think it started when I was a kid because I would always see my dad iron his clothes. So I thought, ooh, I will be an adult whenever I iron my clothes. Like that's the status I want to get to. So when I got older, it became very important to me that I wasn't wrinkly. It just became a thing for me. And it actually became very therapeutic for me to iron my clothes. Like it wasn't even like a chore. It was like, ooh, I need to iron my clothes. A, I want to do it. And B, I won't be wrinkly. And so basically my stop motion project is basically highlighting the joy that an iron brings, you know, when you're having a tough day and your clothes are wrinkly. So it's very cool. It actually streams on May 1st. So yeah, it's Amphibian Stage Productions on their website, Culture Hub on their website. Um, yeah, but it's free to the public, so you just have to register and you get to watch it. But the overall project, I forgot how many collaborators there were, but I think it's about 9 projects. But it's basically all put and made into one video, and you're able to see the different interpretations on what ordinary things bring joy from different minds of different creatives. It's really cool, and everybody's doing. Again, I'm doing stop motion, but other people are doing other forms. It's really cool.
Is that going to be available beyond May 1st, or is it just the one day?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's available. Like I think it just premieres on May 1st, but it's available at all point, and it's free. So
great. I'll be sure to point people that way with the down in the description as well. All right, I'm going to change gears a little bit here, Anya. Do you have a favorite show that you have seen? A favorite theater performance that you have ever witnessed?
Um, Live or online?
Either one. Why don't we start with online?
Okay. Online, the greatest show I've ever seen, and it's still probably my favorite show still, or at least favorite play, is called Every Brilliant Thing. Um, Every Brilliant Thing by is it Duncan McMillan? I should know that. Everything. I'm like losing all names today. I'm pretty sure it's Duncan McMillan.
No worry, I can fact check this stuff later.
Yeah,
Good.
that's Duncan McMillan. I was right. I'm like, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. Yeah, Every Brilliant Thing by Duncan McMillan and Johnny Donahoe. Anyway, I was actually in the process of writing my one-person show that I had performed at Fort Worth Fringe whenever a colleague of mine told me that she had seen a show on HBO that she thought I would really like. And I said, oh, okay. She was like, it's a play. I guess they recorded it. It's really good. It's on HBO. You should check it out. I said, cool. And I watched the show and it blew me away. It's about a guy whose mother was suicidal. Um, and she had attempts, and basically the guy began making a list of things of reasons why she should live, and it was like things like ice cream, or what was like Ray Charles records. Like it's so many cool things. It's such a beautiful play. And what made it stand out so much to me, it was very audience interactive, which I love those type of shows in general. But B, it it took such a dark topic that can become morbid very quickly, and made it heartwarming, and I could laugh without feeling guilty for laughing. And it's such a beautiful show. I highly recommend it. I think it still is on HBO. I'm pretty sure. It's an amazing show. I loved it so much that when I saw that it was being performed in DFW, I went and watched it. Um, and the guy did a really good job. It was performed at the Circle Theater. Um, and yeah, but it's such a beautiful show. Highly recommend it. In fact, I was actually going to perform it. I bought the rights to the show while I was in Lubbock. However, I got messed over because the theater or the performing center that I was going to perform it at double booked me with somebody else. So it was a month or 2 months before the production, and they said, oh, hey, by the way, sorry, I know you booked this like 6 months in advance, but we made a mistake and that person was here before you, so we're not gonna be able to let you have the venue for that day and those times. And obviously, when you apply for the rights of things, it's for a specific day and a specific time. And so I was like, well, it's not the time, but I'll do it at some point. Love the show, love it so freaking much. So that's my favorite online show because it was recorded and then broadcast on HBO. My favorite in-person show is Hadestown. Um, I went and watched the show in 2019, fall of 2019, and it blew me away. We were in New York. My wife and I at the time, we were in New York. I went to this producing conference for filmmakers, and then we knew that we were not going to go in New York and not watch a Broadway show. And we got really good seats. Actually, we weren't on the front row, but we were in the first like 20 rows. We were really close. And man, I wish I could relive that every day. It was such a good performance. I mean, gosh. So much so that I would pay a lot of money to go and watch it again and again. Like it wouldn't even matter. And like it was so good. It was also my first Broadway show too, so it was a double plus because it would have sucked if I would have went and then it would have been a bad show and I would have been upset. Yeah, Hadestown, hands down, amazing.
Great. I have not seen Hadestown, but I have heard the soundtrack. There's some great music in that show. I am jealous.
It gave me, because we were deciding between that and Moulin Rouge, because we knew the story Moulin Rouge, we liked the story. Hadestown, but we chose Hadestown because well, pretty much my wife thought I would like it more because I didn't care which one we watched. I didn't know enough about Hadestown to really care. I just knew it was Greek mythology. She's like, okay, I think you'll like this one more. So I was like, okay. And boy, was she right. Wow. Like, I mean, gosh, it was so good. I can't even describe it. And I don't like musicals. So if that tells you anything, I'm not a fan of musicals and it blew me away. Like, it's crazy.
Let's see, what else do I have? You had mentioned that you are actually a fan of this virtual format that theater has been taking over the last year. Um, is that something that you hope continues into the future?
Yeah, I do. Again, I don't want it to be a replacement, but I don't think it should be taken away. What it does, I'm all about accessibility. Um, that's a big reason why movies have had such an important part of my life because movies have always been accessible. Good quality theater is not very accessible. To again, to even the fact that I have 3 degrees, all of which are arts related, and I've only been to one Broadway show, and I have all this like it's just it's never theater isn't the most accessible. I mean, you can get theater anywhere, but a certain quality. And On top of that, what virtual theater does it allows everyone to be able to see it. Um, and it means that if I can afford to fly to Minnesota to do the Minnesota Fringe, I could still be involved in it. It doesn't mean it's going to be as good as a live audience, but it is something. And I don't think it's like something like, oh, it's trash, but it's like it's still legitimately a good alternative. Um, and also, like, whenever National Theater Live did their streaming platform, it has been amazing. And I would never be able to see those shows because it's overseas. I don't have the money. I could never go. And if I did go, I have to like save up for some years to be able to make it. And it's beautiful. I mean, gosh, I've watched many, but I think the one Macbeth. Uh, Sorry, not Macbeth. I said Macbeth. I haven't watched it. I wanted to watch Macbeth. I watched Medea. Um, and oh my gosh, the main actress just passed away. I can't think of her name. Helen. I can't think of her last name, but she just passed away, unfortunately. But that service allows people who can't afford to fly over there and don't have the resources to be able to go watch it to see such good theater. Um, I mean, it's just accessibility is very underrated to me. Um, as a child, I mean, my family, I've never been able to afford to be able to go to New York and watch that type of stuff. When I went to New York, we had to save to do so, me and my wife. Um, but if I'm able to watch a recording of it, and I think people are realizing it as well after they saw Hamilton on Disney Plus. I was able to see Hamilton in person, not with the original cast, but I was able to see it in person with the touring cast. Um, but it's one of those, it will never replace the live, but it still is so significant, especially to the theater artists, because the people who can't afford to go are the biggest lovers of theater. The theater artists aren't banking and rolling in dough like they can't afford to go and watch all that stuff, and it's just on average, and it's just, yeah, I can go on and on. Accessibility is like a big deal to me. So yeah.
Right. No. Well, we've been going for about a half hour now, which is sort of the general time limit I've put on things. Is there anything you want to promote or any final thoughts that you want to be sure you get out before we close up?
Yeah, check out Amphibian Stage Productions. Everything they do is awesome. I'm a big fan of them. I already said it, but I love them. They're awesome. Yeah, check out Crumble at Kansas City Fringe. I just submitted that, so Crumble. And check me out at Minnesota Fringe whenever I find out what I'm doing. But check it out. But yeah. Oh, and if you want to check out anything I'm doing, you can go to my website at poeticthespianproductions.com.
All right. Will do. Have that all down in the description for everybody to check out and enjoy and follow all of your amazing artistic work.
Yes, and shout out to Theater Crude too. Check them out; they're awesome.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that one.
Yes, we'll definitely be in touch soon. And at some point I'm gonna be applying. I'm gonna be telling everybody I know to apply for Theater Crude.
All right, you got 1 month left. End of May.
Yeah,
Cuts
get
off.
on it. Figure out a show.
Yeah. No, you apply first and then you figure out the show. Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much again. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. We've reached the end. Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm glad that no one came outside yelling, and so I was like, please be quiet. Don't.